Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel, where tonight we are previewing the first match in the Premier League season between Newcastle United and West Ham United. Very, very big match, especially after today. We finally now have this man at the club, Joe Willock, on a 6-year deal. It seemed like forever to agree personal terms. However, he did eventually, and obviously there he is in... holding the shirt, which is what I said I wanted to see before I celebrated anything about Joe Willock coming into the club. But it's fantastic news to sign one of the young English talents coming through, who's got bags and bags of potential to go far in the game. For me, £25 million is a great price. As long as we don't put too much pressure on the kid, you know, I've read a lot of things about people saying that Willock's going to be this, he's going to be that, he's going to turn around the whole club, the whole team. Come on, guys, he's still a young kid. Yes, he did brilliantly for us at the back end of last season, but let's let him settle in again and get used to things and, his permanent surroundings now, although he won't be available on Sunday because we didn't register him in time. However, I've seen some ridiculous comments on Twitter, people going off it about, him not being registered on Sunday. Look, we've got him for the 6 years contract, you know what I mean? It's one game, and hopefully we can do well enough on Sunday, get something out of the game, and then look forward to Willock coming in for the next one. That, for me, is the most important thing, that he's now at the club. For me, we've got to go now and improve. It's very important that we do that. Maybe try and get a couple of loan signings in. There has been a few banded around today. The real life goal, if that comes to fruition, we know nothing about that player. A player linked from Roma as well. So we've got some things bubbling away, as Steve Bruce said in his press conference. Now it's only a question of whether we can get these guys in time before the window closes. It's going to be a rush job again, obviously, as it normally is at Newcastle United. We don't do things by halves. This club seems to like to keep the supporters on the edge of the seats with everything they do. Couple of comments already coming in. Geordie says, come on, you maggies. Yeah, that's going to be a hashtag without a shadow of a doubt. Even Paul, new account, mate. Fingers crossed Newcastle can get all 3 points on Sunday to start the season off with a bang. Look, it'll give the whole place a lift if we can get 3 points. I know Willock's not playing, but we from what Steve Bruce said in his press conference, we have players available now, and we can put a decent team out against West Ham. The problem I've got is what kind of tactics is Steve Bruce going to play, because we know from past season to season that he's been with us, that his formations aren't very attacking. It's more hit on the counter attack. Now, yes, we do have the players to hit on the counter attack. But we have an array of talent up front, and sometimes I feel that some players are going to miss out because of the way Steve Bruce plays. But it'd be interesting to see what team lineup he goes with on Sunday. Geordie's just seen a few people that say the 50k or thereabouts supporters need to get behind the players this season instead of all this anti-Ashley and Bruce toxic atmosphere. Do you agree? I'm 50-50, to be honest. Look, at the end of the day, right, I think the atmosphere before the game on Sunday, I know there's a protest at 12 o'clock, but once you're in the ground and the players come onto the pitch, I think it'll be a tremendous roar to welcome the players onto the pitch. It'll be a fantastic atmosphere. However, my worry is that if we fall a goal behind or 2 goals behind and we're not playing very well, then yes, I do think the atmosphere will turn very toxic. And it's hard to support the team when they're not playing well, because at the end of the day, the team have to give us something to shout about as well. It's not just the manager, by all means, it's the players as well. So if the players don't go out there and perform, then yes, we will get at them, because we want to see the players giving 100%, especially because we've been away for so long, the fans. This is an opportunity for the players to really shine and show us what they can really do when the fans are there. The likes of Joe Linton, who needs to really start the season with a bang. Almiron, who for me hasn't been good enough. Yes, his work rate is fantastic, but his final product needs to improve. St. Maximan excites us every time he touches the ball. He thrives off a crowd. So having the crowd there may well just see ASM step up to the next level. Wilson has to have the ammunition to score. He needs the balls to come in, and he will finish. We know he's deadly in the box, but we have to provide him with that ammunition. So there's a lot of players need to step up. Fraser as well, for me, if he gets an opportunity, he needs to show what he can do as well, because I'm sure last season the fans would have been on his case when he actually did play. So there's a lot of importance going into this game on Sunday. There's I know it's the first game of the season, but for us as Newcastle United, it is massive. It really is massive. And I think that, what Geordie was saying there about, getting on Bruce's back, and the chance about Ashley will happen, no doubt. It's been happening all pre-season, so there's no reason why it won't continue. However, if you look at it another way, if we go 2-0 down, or we're 2-0 down at half-time or something like that, we're playing rubbish, then the fans will get at Steve Bruce as well. There is no doubt about it. We will let Steve Bruce know exactly what we think of him. And a lot of fans have discussed this and think, yeah, is it right? Is it wrong? It's human nature for us as Newcastle fans. If we see our team playing absolutely terribly with no motivation, like we saw a lot of the time last season, you remember last season it was never a full 90 minutes from Newcastle, was it? It was always step by step. We either played well in the first half, terrible in the second, or we play really terribly in the first half and then come out in the second half a little bit better. But by then, sometimes it was too late to get a result. So we've got to be careful here. And Steve Bruce, this is where he is going to prove to a lot of fans if he is good enough now to take this team moving forward before any sort of takeover, because the takeover is on the back burner. That's not happening, if at all now. So we've got to be prepared for this. But I think the fans have a right to get at Steve Bruce if they so wish, because we haven't been there for 18 months. Let's remember that. And Steve Bruce said some really derogatory things about the fans during the course of the season last year in his press conferences, knowing that the fans couldn't get at him. And the only way for us to vent our frustration last season was indeed on social media. And nothing is going to change this season when it comes to going at Steve Bruce, except we're in the stadium now. And he'll be aware of that. He will see everything coming at him. And he will know that he has to get this team right. He has to get them in the right frame of mind before they go on that pitch and actually perform for us. It's huge. Chip, this is great. We signed Willock. Only thing that pisses me off is the fact it took 3 months from the season's end to bid for him and 5 days to sign him. This deal should have been done when he was on loan. Yeah, it should have. But let's just forget about that now. Okay, he's our player now, and it's all right for us to look back in hindsight and say, well, we should have done this or we should have done that. He's our player now, and it's very important that we move forward and think positively now, because Willock's in, and hopefully we get another 2 loan signings in. Praying we do, because at the minute, even with Willock, I think it's going to be a long, hard season, because to keep everybody fit in our starting 11 is going to be pretty much impossible. We know that there's injury problems there, that there's players prone to injury, which it will happen. For me, we still need to cover a striking position. We need another one in, probably a centre-back with a bit of pace is what I want. But only time will tell to see if we get that. Paul, good evening. At least he can just slot into the starting 11, though, with experience in the team already. He can. And the beauty about him not playing on Sunday is the fact that he'll have a week's training. We know that obviously he's not fit. He's only played 40-odd minutes for Arsenal in pre-season, so he's not going to be ready. But he'll have a week of training, so he will be ready to play in the next game. Yes, you talk about training and match fitness, but hey, if we can start him, get 60, 70 minutes out of the kid, and then sub him off until he gets fully match fit, that's fine by me. But at least he'll be in there. Ian and Paul, hope you're well. I am, matey. Jason, good evening to you. Chipper says, and another thing, why is our cabbage praising Harry Hill for? I mean, Charlie, the bloke has been on furlough and got us one player, not good enough. Yeah, I'll come on to that in a minute, because that did really piss me off, actually, in the press conference. Love it, Brentford, your beauties. Yeah, last time I saw they were 1-0 up against Arsenal. I hope that's still the case in the second half now. You just love it when Arsenal are losing, because the Arsenal channels are going ballistic. Paul says, I agree. One player isn't good enough, to be honest, in a side with as little squad depth as ours. Yeah, and you've got to think of all the players that have left. I know that some of them were not really good enough. Sorensen went, and the young kid, and Andy Carroll's gone out. Kellen Watts, for me, is the one that we should have kept. The kid had a bit of pace about him, was good at bringing the ball out, had a very, very good pre-season, and we shipped him off to Wigan. The worry I have is the pace. If Steve Bruce is indeed playing with 2 wing-backs and 3 centre-backs, then it is very, very important for me that we have a bit of pace between the centre-backs, and I don't think we have. So when sides come at us at pace, which a lot of sides in the Premier League, especially the top teams do, they have a lot of pace up front, will be able to navigate around us quite easily, which is a big, big problem. Up the Maggie, says Taylor. Jason says, give it another 11 weeks and we might bring in a second player. Well, hopefully not, Jason, because the transfer window will be shut. It'll probably be looking at January, but I presume that's what you mean by 11 weeks. Can he play on Sundays? He wasn't signed before 12. No, he can't. He won't be available. Leila says, are you surprised Arsenal are losing? Not really, no. And I know, like, a lot of the Arsenal fans are being disappointed with the fact that Aubameyang and Lacazette aren't playing tonight with what Arsenal are calling illnesses. Something's definitely wrong at that club. Really wrong. Anyway, Paul says, I'm not. Arsenal are a shadow of what they were under Wenger. Indeed, they are. He wasn't registered in time, as far as I'm aware, so I have to make do with Hendrick and Shelvey. God, no. Hendrick needs to stay away from the starting lineup. Tony, good evening. Nope, the press club release state his first game will be Villa away. And that's what I mean. He'll get the opportunity to get a good week's training in. So for me, he's a guaranteed starter. Has to be at Villa. And then obviously, because he won't be 100% match fit, but he will be fit to start. Bring him off 60, 70 minutes, depending on how the game's going. And he says, because the Premier League, maybe we were told before he was announced on socials, but I'm not sure. No, he's not. He's definitely not playing. John, good evening. He says we need a centre midfield and a centre back and a forward. Completely agree. I still think those three positions are very, very vital for us. Simply because I don't think Shelvey is the way forward. It'd be interesting to see how he performs on Sunday, because no doubt Bruce will put him in the team. But obviously Willock's not going to be there. So who goes alongside Willock? It'll probably, I would think, well, I would have said Sean Longstaff, but obviously he's now linked with Everton. So is his head in the right place? A lot was made on Instagram yesterday when he actually liked one of Everton's tweets about Rafa. So it was quite interesting to see what happens with him. Jordy says Penfold has to get those plates spinning again and bring some decent players through the door. And then Paul says, tough first game. All depends how Bruce puts them out. It is. I mean, it really is. It depends. We saw so many times last season, whether it be the first or the second half, our sides coming out completely unmotivated. And, if the crowds were there would have been raging last season. We all said it when we were doing watch-alongs and stuff like that. We were raging because it just wasn't good enough. Some of the attitudes of the players had to be questioned as well, mind. I'm not just talking about Steve Bruce here. Yes, Steve Bruce is not good enough to take this club forward. I know that, and many other people know that. However, in Steve Bruce's defense as well, some of those players really let him down last year because they didn't perform, to how good they can be. Now, you can say we're out of position or whatever it is and square pegs in round holes, but the players need to step up as well this season. Because like I said before, if we as fans are now in the stadium and we see a lack of effort from the players, then, we won't be happy at that either. So it's a two-way thing, really. Steve Bruce has got to send them out with the right attitude and the right tactics. But then once they cross that white line, it's also the part of the players to get motivated and show us what they can really do and perform for the shirt that they're wearing. Arteta doesn't look happy, says Tony. I wouldn't be if I was Arteta at the minute. Not going well. Michael says, Charlie praised by the monumental bell end for signing a player we should have done months ago and still can't get him in for Sunday. Typical Newcastle making it hard. Yeah. It's all part and parcel of being a Newcastle United fan, this, isn't it? Signing players seems to take forever. Chelsea start the week interested in Lukaku, and within 2 days it was done. Signed, sealed, delivered. He was holding the shirt up, and he was a Chelsea player. I just don't know why everything has to be done in a reverse gear at Newcastle. Yeah, I really don't. Johnny says West Ham come into this match on the back of a great pre-season, beating sides like Atalanta and Celtic comfortably. Yeah, they have. They've played really, really well, and I've said that in previous shows that I've done. That West Ham have scored bags of goals in pre-season, looked very, very fit, looked very quick on the break. And that's my worry, is our three centre-backs, will they be able to keep up with the pace of the likes of Antonio? I'm not so sure, because West Ham have some very, very, very good players. I've got West Ham to finish in 6th place in the Premier League this season in my league predictions that I did on the Horseman Show. So I think they can be very, very dominant this season, and especially on Sunday. Their record at St James's Park or against Newcastle in general isn't really very good. And I think David Moyes will be aware of that, and he'll want to put that right on Sunday. Let's not forget, they've got some quality players in their side. Lingard, for me, is a massive blow to them that they didn't bring him in on a permanent basis, because for me, he changed their season last year when he came in. I was very surprised at the move, and I did have a good little dig at Lingard, saying, he's only gone to London for the fashion and the big smoke and all of that. But I was wrong, very wrong about him, because as soon as he started playing for West Ham, he was absolutely superb. and did a lot to change the back end of the season for them into more positive results. Without him, but they have brought other people in, and they are dangerous. Benrahma, he's got a pre-season under his belt now with West Ham. He's a danger because he's a fantastic footballer. And can provide the ammunition for Antonio. But they have other players who can put the ball in the back of the net as well. You look at Yarmolenko, Souček. They've got talent in this side, and it's whether we can match them on the day. And he says, Onyeka for Brentford looks utterly brilliant and there's a steal. Yeah, he does. Quality first goal as well by the number 7. Brilliant finish. Although Leno should have done a bit better. Almiron hasn't been great. All he seems to do is run around like a Duracell bunny. I've said this a lot of times, Geordie, about Almiron, and I've been hammered for it, saying, well, he works hard. He's been played in the wrong positions and things like that. Now, all right, yes, I agree he's been played in the wrong positions, but Almiron, sometimes when he's been in the right position, hasn't even done it. There was one moment last season set it all for me, and I can't remember who it was against, but he was literally 2 yards out. And I think it was Wilson played the ball across to him, and he somehow miskicked the ball with his natural left foot. So I was, that for me said it all. Miggy, yes, he runs around a lot. He does put 110% in. Nobody can deny that. But my question is the Premier League just a bit too much for him? Yes, he goes away on international duty, plays very well, scores goals, and he's the kingpin of that team for Paraguay. But they play a different sort of formation to us. They play different tactics. So it's very, very different when you go away on international duty. Everybody knows that. But for me, Almiron really, really needs to step up this year. Good evening, Dave. Hope you're well, buddy. John says, Almiron runs around like a chicken and looks lost when on the ball. Yep. Julie, good evening to you. Michael says, make or break season for Miggy, Fraser or Joe Linton. None of them have been good enough, regardless of how long they've been here. Yeah, I think people are starting to see my point on Miggy, because when I first made it last season, like I said, I got hammered for it. There was only a select few would agree, and they were saying, you don't know what you're talking about and things like that. Well, I'm sorry, but I do. I'd like to think that I do. I just think Miggy needs to... there was a towards the back end of just before the COVID hit, he was playing very, very well, scoring goals. Everyone remembers that FA Cup game at West Brom where we just demolished them. And Miggy and Miggy and ASM were absolutely fantastic in that match. That's what I want to see from Miggy. But then, since the restart, it's back to him running around a lot, but not doing very much on the ball. And he's got to stop going down and rolling around like he's been shot. Because if the one thing that irritates the shit out of me, it's watching him do that. And then 2 minutes later, he gets up and he's sprinting away. I don't like to see it. I don't like to see it on my own team. I don't like to see it on an opposition team when they try and fool the referee all the time. It's bollocks. And he needs to get that out of his game. But I totally agree on Fraser and Joe Linton as well. A lot needs to be done there. Hopefully we will see that this season. Tangy says, good evening, everyone. Great news on Willock. It's important we got off to a good start this season. Christmas fixture list looks awful. Hey, Tangy, let's not look towards Christmas already. We're a long way from Christmas. Bloody hell. Let's just enjoy the last bit of fine weather we get, and hopefully we get a few points before we move into that Christmas period. Just saying hello to everybody. Tangy says, I entered my fantasy team last night. Never tried it before. Just wanted to participate in the fun. Yeah, that's what it's all about, Tangy. Just having a bit of fun, a bit of a laugh. That's why I wanted to do this show on a Thursday night about the fantasy football, so we can all have a chat to talk about it. Jason says, with Willock signing, we now have got back the same strength as last season. Agree or disagree? We still need more through the door regardless. Totally agree, Jason. That's what I said before, mate. We need more through the door. Because as it stands, we have the same team that we finished with last season. And we finished quite strongly. We got up to 12. But let's face it, it's going to be different now. A lot of teams will have worked Willock out in a way of the way we played Willock. So they'll be keeping an eye on him or probably doubling up on him to a degree when he plays. So it's going to be a lot more difficult for not just the team, but for Joe himself, because they will be aware of the kind of runs he makes now, and they will be working that out. They will be studying that in videos and making sure that either they're doubling up on him or they don't give him the opportunities that he had at the back end of last season. But that's where Joe Willock's class will come in, whether he can counteract that and do something different, which I think he probably will have to do. Michael says, agree, as we have Willock and Jones for the full season. Paul says, people defending Bruce, but his style of football, the negativity he spouts, and the total lack of ability to change the situation or to suit the situation, sorry, is why a lot of fans are against him. It's not entertaining. It's not. And I know a lot of people say that it wasn't entertaining under Rafa as well. The difference is, though, and I'll keep banging on about this, they were organised under Rafa. Yes, the football wasn't great, and I don't think anybody can say the football was great under Rafa. But he knew what he had with the players he had. So he had to adjust. And the way Rafa played his football was that he had the team organised, and that was the difference between Rafa and Bruce. The difference was organisation. And like you've just said there, Paul, Bruce can't do that. He doesn't have the ability to keep the organisation there, or he doesn't have the ability to change mid-game into trying to do something else. He's just a one-street manager. And that's what we all complain about, because when a game needs changing, we don't have the manager to do that. He'll change like for like on the pitch, or he'll make some extremely stupid substitutions, which will annoy the hell out of everybody. Sign Rondon, says Geordie. Would be a decent backup striker with our attacking players. ASM, Almiron, Willock and the likes. Yep, but we won't. At least Willock isn't going to see our training facilities and say, what the fuck? Yeah, he is. That's a good point. He knows he knows exactly what to expect at the club at the minute. Jack, good evening. Full crowds. Now Bruce shitting himself. Exactly. And that's the bottom line. He is absolutely crapping his pants now. And he looks all calm, collective. But inside, he will know that if it goes wrong very, very early on Sunday, that the pelters will be out for him. Obviously, Brentford winning. Yeah, thank you. Luke, good evening. The Roma player who's gone in. Hope we get him. He's a top player, big, strong centre midfielder. It's a big hope. I mean, we're relying on Newcastle United to do business quite quickly now. And will they? Because I don't think they will. We're certainly not notorious for getting deals done very quickly, like we said earlier on. The likes of Chelsea getting Lukaku done in a couple of days. We take, 3 months to agree a fee with Willock, and then a whole 5 days to get personal terms sorted, which the whole thing just stinks. Truls, hey boy, joined the Fantasy League. Good on you, mate. That's what I like to hear. The Watts loan deal is infuriating, as he should be ahead of Dummett and Clark since they can't stay fit. Look, he should be ahead of Lascelles, in my opinion, Michael. I'm not a big fan of Jamal Lascelles. Everybody knows that. I know a few others who aren't. Listen, I'll give the lad a chance again on Sunday. He is our captain, therefore he'll be in the team. But if you look at the three that are probably going to start, Fernandez, Shah, and Lascelles, there's not a lot of pace there. Yes, Shah can bring the ball out. He's good on the ball, undoubtedly, and he was getting back to his best football last season before he got injured again. So for me, Shah is probably the linchpin to bring the ball out. Fernandez, Lascelles, they mainly take care of just clearing the ball. They're not very good at bringing the ball out, whereas Shah, he can carry it a long way. As we know, he can go the length of the pitch sometimes. So I think on Sunday, if they're against Antonio, they're going to have to be good in the air because he's very, very strong, is Antonio, but he can run the channels as well. And that's what we've got to be aware of. So if Murphy and Richie are playing on either flanks as wing backs, we have to they have to pick the runs up from Antonio as well. So they've got to be switched on, because Antonio will make the runs, which lets the midfield pile forward and give them opportunities to score goals. That's what West Ham have been doing in pre-season and doing it very, very well. So we have to be aware of that. So the whole back five really has to be switched on from the off. Very, very important. Jason says, keep the Arsenal scores. I think it is. I'm off to a good start in the Fantasy League. Actually have Rare in goal. All right, okay, fair enough. Level 7, David will be flashing his boxes to Shelvey on Sunday. Probably. Isn't Shelvey a centre-back? He always seems to play in that position. Look, this is what I mean. I mean, Shelvey at centre-back is absolutely pathetic, isn't it? It really is. And that just really sort of confirms the point that Paul made before when he's on about Steve Bruce. Putting Hayden back there, putting Shelvey back there, it's just wrong. It's completely wrong. When we have talent like Kellen Watson, we send him out to Wigan, and then we end up playing, we get injuries and we play Shelvey or Hayden at centre-back, or Emil Kraft, who isn't a centre-back. And we know that Emil Kraft had some right dodgy games at centre-back last season, even at wing-back as well. He was all over the shop. So, the worries there for me is certainly the defence at the minute. Dave says the speed Charnley works. There is not enough time to get 3 more players in. It's shocking. Totally agree. Missed opportunity was shown to make him part of the team. Honestly think he's not progressed since Man United link. People have said the injury as well, but I think that Man United definitely turned his head. And he hasn't been the same player since. not really done anything special in pre-season either. So I think, to be honest, if he moved to Everton, I wouldn't be too fussed. If I really am openly honest, I wouldn't be too fussed if Sean went there. And I think Sean would actually thrive at Everton. He'd get that belief back from Rafa, because we haven't got a manager that will give him that belief back. I believe there's a problem with Bruce and the Longstaff brothers, which is ongoing from last season. Whatever it is, I think there's a problem there, without a shadow of a doubt. But if we take a look at a couple of the quotes from Steve Bruce's press conference today, there wasn't anything really massive to write home about, I guess. This one was on what will constitute success this season. And he went on to say, improving on last year, that's got to be the aim. We finished top of our league, below the elite league, if you like. And slowly we have to try and improve on 12th, do better in the cups. We won't transform overnight. Now, this is probably the comment that wound me up the most, to be honest, because if you look at it, we won't transform overnight. Fair enough, Steve. You've been here 2.5 years. So don't come onto this, or 2.5, 3 years, whatever it is. Don't come this bullshit about not being able to change overnight, because, you know, you've had enough time to change and stamp your authority on this team and make it your own. You know, you were twisting a lot when you first came in, saying, oh, this is Rafa's team and all of this. It's not Rafa's team anymore, Steve. This is your team. You've had enough time now to change everything. And, you know, saying that before a Premier League kickoff, that, you know, 12th place, we finished top of our league. I mean, come on. Look at the teams that finished above us. Are you telling me we can't compete with some of them between sort of 12th and 8th? Of course we can, if we really, really wanted to. But the fact is, there is the ambition isn't there at this club. Otherwise, we would be really, really challenging. But we can't, because you put the shackles on some of the players. We're not attacking enough. And then we've got a board who just works so slowly, and an owner who doesn't even want the club. So he's not going to plough money in. So moving forward is going to be very, very, very difficult. On the goalkeeping situation, Martin's not fit, and it doesn't look as if Carl Darlow is going to be right after having COVID. Freddie Woodman will get his chance. He's waited patiently. He's played for the last 2 years, so it's his big opportunity. Some people say they're nervous about Woodman starting on Sunday. For me, I think it's a massive opportunity for the kid. I really do. Massive opportunity, because he's been at Swansea and done very, very well. Won Championship Goalkeeper of the Month last season. So he's obviously doing something right. So he's going to be under pressure. West Ham will know. Obviously, he's not first or second choice goalkeeper. Moyes will know this. So Moyes will try and target that. There's no doubt about it. He will want the West Ham players to get shots in, to challenge him in the air, put high balls in, really make it difficult for Freddie Woodman. You know, Moyes is a pretty astute manager, in my opinion. He's done a great job at West Ham, and they will bombard him. He will know, Moyes himself, that Woodman is, third or fourth choice goalkeeper, whatever it may be at the club. So, and there was a possibility that he wasn't even going to be here for the start of the season had, Dubravka not got injured. He was off to Bournemouth. So Moyes will know that he's not, he'd be nervous as well, Freddie Woodman. So they are going to bombard him without a doubt. And then Steve Bruce confirms Joe Willock will train today after signing a 6-year deal. He said, I've had to be patient and I've not enjoyed it, but it's been worth the wait. We tried to get him on loan, but Arsenal said no. The club have gone above and beyond where I thought they would. And then this bit, credit to Lee Charnley for getting the deal done. Where else can you find a 21-year-old midfielder who scored 7 on the trot? We hope to have him registered for West Ham, but if not, we've got him for the next 6 years. The praise in Lee Charnley really can boil my piss, to be honest. It really did. I think that's the biggest kiss arson that you can ever possibly do. Lee Charnley has been missing for God knows how long. The man is on an extortionate wage at Newcastle United, and he gets praised for taking 5 days to get a personal terms agreed with a player. How? How is that possible? This man is an imbecile. He can't do anything properly. He's earning £600,000 a year for doing what? Exactly what? Sitting smiling with his penfold face all day. And then he when it comes to the crunch of getting something done, he monumentally almost fucks it up. Sky were reporting yesterday and other news sources that, or the day before, that the clubs were miles apart. Now, that shouldn't be the case. If we know how talented Joe Willock is at that age, and the potential that this kid has to drive our team forward, give him what he wants, man. You're paying Joe Linton 80 grand a week, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Come on. I just don't understand I think, is that Steve Bruce saying that again to piss the fans off? Because I really think it is, to be quite fair. I think he says things that he knows will piss the fans off. And certainly saying that about Charlie. My fucking God. Jordy says, Joe Willock hardly played any minutes for Arsenal in pre-season, so he should have only made the bench on Sunday anyway, but the full week worth of training, he'll be 100% ready for Villa. Bob, good evening. But who would replace Steve Bruce? Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe's out there, and for me, would do a much better job than Steve Bruce and play more attractive football than Steve Bruce. He's out there. There's a couple of others out there, but let's face it, Steve Bruce isn't going anywhere right now, so it doesn't matter what we do. Julie says, to Dave, I've heard he's after an up-and-coming striker. One Shearer. That would be nice, wouldn't it? If Shearer put all the on boots at 51-year-old, I think he'd still do a job, to be honest. This will be my first match since Swansea in 2010, so I'm very excited. Can't wait to hopefully spot you, Paul. Yeah, anybody spots me at the game, guys, come up and say hello. It'd be great to put, obviously, faces to names. And meet a lot of the subscribers to the channel. I'm really looking forward to that. So that should be great. Met loads of people, met a few down at Burton, and looking to do a few more. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get yourself interviewed on the vlog, which will be great. So you want to tell me about what you think about how the match is going to go, if I catch you before the game or after the game. So if you spot me, come and say hello. Jordy says West Ham record at St James's Park is something like 1-1 and lost 4 in the last 5. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what Moyes will be wanting to put right. He'll know where Newcastle weaknesses are going into the game. Almiron looks great for Paraguay, but in the Premier League, he hasn't lived up to the hype. Totally agree. And again, I'm not getting at Miggy here. This is just my opinion on him football and wise. I love the attitude Miggy has towards the game. I love the way he smiles. I love the way the effort he puts in. But we have to see a final product from Miggy as well. It's not all about just the smiling and the joy of playing football. You've got to do something on the pitch. Jordy says team versus West Ham. Well, I mean, the team is pretty much going to be the team that finished the season last year, isn't it? Apart from a couple of changes. West Ham have only beaten us 6 times since 95. We are their worst nightmare. Yeah, but that could quickly turn around on Sunday, to be honest, Jason. We've got to be careful. The team that I would put out, oh, God almighty. I mean, you're looking at Woodman in goal. Right wing back is going to be Jacob Murphy, and I've said for a long time now this could be a big season for the kid. Left wing back, Matt Ritchie, for me, should be captain. Again, just the effort he put in pre-season as well. Just shows you the commitment he's got to the team. 3 centre-backs, Shah, Fernandez, Lascelles, moving into the midfield. You're looking at Hayden, Shelvey. Oh, Christ. See, this is where the problem is. It's going to be Hendrick, isn't it? I mean, the worry, unless he just goes with Shelvey and Hayden and then plays, Almiron, ASM and Wilson. So there's no space in there for Joe Linton. There's no space for Fraser, unless you want to leave. I know Fraser said he's been learning the number 8 role. So is that a sign that maybe Almiron will miss out? You put Fraser on the right, ASM on the left. I mean, it's all over the place. You just don't know what he's going to do, because I think playing the 5 at the back restricts our options up front without a shadow of a doubt. And it has done for a long time now. So what he does is going to be very interesting to see on Sunday. But for me, I'd probably go Shelvey and Hayden in the middle, and then I'd go with Wilson up front, ASM, and Miggy. That's what I'd do. I'd give Miggy the opportunity, really, but we'll just have to wait and see. Would you sell Miggy if 20 million came in before the end of the window? I'd happily take that. Have the same opinion as you, Paul, as he's never shown an end product for a couple of seasons now. Yeah, I would as well. 25 million. Are we home or away? We're at home, Taylor. Tangy says, I see both sides of the debate and opinions about Miggy. I just think he's one of those players, if he was playing in a better free-flowing football team, we could regret selling him. Yeah, but the problem is we're stuck with Bruce for a while now, Tangy, and that's the problem. He doesn't play free-flowing football, and that's never going to suit Miggy's style, is it? Dave says the club have sent out emails about guidelines for Sunday. Seem fair, to be fair. Yeah, I've seen them. I got the email before. I haven't read it yet, but I know it's there. It's in my inbox, so I will read it. Geordie says Steve Bruce tells BBC Newcastle there are no new injuries, but Paul Dummett is still unavailable. Callum Wilson and St Maximin are both fine. It'll be interesting to see how Maximin does, because West Ham will target him. Every team will. And we've said all along that we think ASM's made of glass. The last thing I want to see is him hobbling off injured, or Wilson for that matter, because my heart will just sink, because if we lose one of them two, we're knackered again. Michael says Tangy probably be great at Leeds or a team that plays like. Yeah, I agree. Actually, that's a good shout. Kel Watts deserves at least a chance at Newcastle or a loan to a Championship side, but instead he's playing League One football. This was said on my show a couple of days ago. Playing League One football is not going to bring the kid on. You know, you're talking about Sunderland level. Tom says, good evening, Tom. Agreed, Harry Rondon. He'd be an excellent backup to Wilson. I'd like to see us try and bring Barkley in on loan. No squad number at Chelsea. Yeah, I heard that. That he hasn't been given a squad number. Now, this is an opportunity for us to go in and get him if we really want to. But this is what I was talking about before, about having the belief to go in and get a player and get it done. You know, he hasn't got a squad number at Chelsea. That says he's not wanted. Go and get him. You know, yes, I know that Ross Barkley's been prone to a few injuries over the years, but come on, if we get him in on loan, he could he's a player that can transform a game. No shadow of a doubt. He is a talent. And I would love to see him come in on loan. It'd be brilliant. Geordie says, Dave, I haven't received an email from the club about Sunday's match against Tam. What are the guidelines? It's on the website as well, Geordie. Shelby should play a sweeper, perhaps, with those long searching balls. I think he's becoming lazier every season. His body language says it all. Well, according to him, he's not lazy. It's just the way it's what his persona gives off. Transform overnight. He's had 2 seasons. Exactly, Michael. Brentford are playing some lovely stuff. They should be 2-0 up. I really hope they beat Arsenal. Our league, I thought we were in a 20-team league and not an 8-team league. Exactly. And that just shows you the ambition of Steve Bruce and the club. If they're looking at 12th position, saying, well, you know, yeah, we finished 12th, but it was, you know, we finished top of our league. Bullshit, man. Really. Jason says, transform overnight. His nose hasn't transformed in years. Possible COVID jab checks, masks in areas not needed in the stands. Don't go as symptoms arrive early. Yep. All the usual stuff. Don't forget Steve Bruce is the same bloke who tried to ship Grealish out of Villa in a swap for Jordan Rhodes. And now look at Grealish. Exactly. Let's not forget that. I mean, I can remember that. Michael said he complained it's Rafa's team, but he's barely improved the team with his own signings. The Longstaffs fell out with Bruce when he stole their bacon in the training ground canteen. Yep. Yeah. I think it all came from that mole situation. If you remember last season when we apparently had a mole at the training ground, I think the Longstaffs were involved in a bust-up with him and sort of Richie and everything, and it all blew to a head. And at the end of the day, I think he's had a problem with Longstaffs ever since. Dennis, good evening. Hi, Paul. We need Lewis Dunk. I think we'll make a captain for us. Yeah, I really rate Lewis Dunk. We'll miss being in the Toon for the game, sadly, but travelling up on Wednesday for a few days. Good on you, Julie. Julie says, corruption breeds corruption, Paul. Damn right it does. Tangy says, praising Penfold. What a joke. Anyone with half a brain would know Willock would be a great signing. Exactly. Charlie, the T-boy promoted way beyond his capability. Yeah, of course it is. 2-0 Brentford now. Hey, there you go. Oh, I can't wait to see the Arsenal channels after this. My God, I have a good laugh watching them lose control, like I'm sure they do with me when my rage kicks in. Although I don't know why people say I have an issue with rage. I really don't. Jason says, praising Charlie, saying it won't transform overnight. He isn't doing himself any favours. No one will be seeing him on Sunday. Exactly. Tom says, Paul, where are you going to be? Ari, the vlog and times? I have no idea, Tom, to be honest. It's the first vlog I'll be ever doing at the game. I'll be doing a little bit before the game and maybe interviewing some people afterwards and stuff like that. Other people will probably do better vlogs than me because I'm not known as a vlogger, to be honest, but I'm looking forward to doing it. So I'm not sure I'll be. I sit in the Leazes end, so I'll be up that way, but I'll be walking to the ground quite early anyway. So if you see us, Tom, come over and say hello, bud. 2-0, haha. Michael says, possibly the worst defending I've seen from a throw-in, especially from Ben White. Oh, dear. And after spending £50 million, that is not what you want to have. Need a box-to-box midfielder, Arsenal. Yeah, strange that. I think it's all going to come crashing down on Arteta for getting rid of the players he has, I'm telling you. Paddy Power already trolling Arsenal by saying Joe Willock joined us for a better chance to play Champions League football. Oh, my God. That will hurt Arsenal fans, that one. Daniel, good evening. Cannot play till next week now, though. Should have hurried the deal through. Pissing around. Agreed. Geordie says Arsenal are going down with Norwich. Chris, good evening. Ayo, Paul. First managerial dismissal this season, Arteta. Then the pout. Well, we know Chris is a Leeds fan. Yeah, I think Steve Bruce was one of the favourites to be the first manager to be sacked. I think that's going to change very quickly. Jason says, think on this. Arsenal will be bottom of the Premier League at the end of this match. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Michael says, Bruce supposedly mentioned that Matty has a knee injury, according to John, on his 20th stream of the day. Yeah, I'm not so sure Matty is injured. Again, with Steve, I think Matty will be in the squad. I think he might be on the bench on Sunday, but he'll not be thought of to start. 22-23, Arsenal playing QPR, Borough and Wigan, etc. in the Championship. Wow. Guidelines pretty much the same as they were for the Norwich friendly last week. Yep. Geordie looked out the guidelines. The club have pretty much said if you've got symptoms for COVID, don't go. And the passport is pretty much personal choice, as you will get into St. James's Park with or without one. Look, if you've got symptoms of COVID, you don't go. You're not that stupid, surely. People aren't surely that stupid that if they've got COVID symptoms, they'll think, oh, I'll go and sit in a stadium with 40,000 people. Tonight just goes to show sell Willock, get beat. Can't wait to see the Arsenal fans break down on John's stream later tonight. Yeah, I mean, God almighty. He had Arsenal fans on yesterday with him, and none of them were confident, to be fair. Tom says, will do. I'm up that end too, Northeast Corner champion. Paul says, Arsenal big six, my arse. Yeah, Arsenal fans really need to get a grip, don't they? Because they think, at the moment, they think they're bigger than they are. And really, they're not in the big six anymore. They're certainly not going to be classed as a big six team. Arsenal are a mid-table Premier League team at the moment. And if any Arsenal fan doesn't agree with that, then they're off their heads, to be honest. But I know a couple of Arsenal fans, good people, good laugh as well. And, I think common sense has hit them, saying that, we're not good enough. They know the areas that they need to improve on. But a lot of fans very, very unhappy about the selling of Willock, because he could have been a big player for them this season. And tonight is a perfect example of why. Gallagher then, for me, as I like the atmosphere, says Geordie. It's all about common sense. Evening, Thomas. Hope you're well, buddy. So, score prediction before I end the show. Had Willock been playing, I would have been a little more confident. I have to say that. So, I think I'm going with... I'm going 2-1 Newcastle. Come on. Why not be positive? For me... the 11 that should be starting on Sunday are good enough to beat West Ham. But again, like we said earlier in the show, it all depends on how Steve Bruce sets the team up, how he sends them out, and then it's all about how the players perform on the pitch and what kind of attitude they have. But I think having the fans back there is players in that Newcastle team who will thrive. Callum Wilson just cannot wait to get started with the fans in the stadium. I know he's had a brief thing of it, but this is the bread and butter, the Premier League. This is where we can really show an atmosphere, etc. So it's all down to us as fans to create that atmosphere before the game, and the players to give us something to shout about during the game. But my worry is that if we start falling behind and we're not up to it, it might well get very toxic very quickly in that stadium. But hopefully not. Hopefully we'll be winning the game. We see a good performance. Last few comments before I go. 2-1 says Geordie. ESL, you're having a laugh, says Tony. 1-1, says Taylor. European Super League, didn't realise that's what the championship is called these days. Will Joe Willock score on Sunday? No, because he's unavailable. Tangy says Toon 2, West Ham 3. I think we will concede. I definitely do. Jason says, knowing Bruce, it'll be an 8-1-1 formation. He loves throwing everyone back. And who's that team we call United? Exactly. Right, that's the end of the match preview, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight and sending all your comments in. I am now putting a lot of these shows on Spotify. So if you do have Spotify and you want to listen to one of the shows when you're out walking the dog, or you're going to work, or you're out for a jog, or at the gym, you can put the Toon review on now using Spotify and just listen to the shows. So things like the Four Horsemen, the Fan Forum, the Fantasy Premier League, etc., will all be going on to Spotify. So keep an eye on Twitter, and I will put the links on there as soon as they're available on Spotify. So but go and subscribe to the Toon review on Spotify, and obviously you'll be notified when I do upload any shows to there. So if you miss the show, or you'd like to listen to it again and have a laugh when you're walking the dog or whatever it is, or in the car, you can put the Toon review on using Spotify. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So it's up to you guys to help me build up the people listening on there and subscribers on Spotify as well. But thank you very much. I am going to do a match reaction show on Sunday night. Live again, so I'll be looking for you guys to come on, give me your comments about what you thought of the match. Obviously I'll be doing a vlog as well, so I'll get that up as quick as I can, and then I'll be doing a match reaction live round about probably 9 o'clock on Sunday night, once everybody gets a chance to have a drink and get home, and then they can watch the show before they go off to peepees. So thank you very much for watching again. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. If you have enjoyed the show, guys, please do hit the like button. And if you haven't already, do consider subscribing to the channel. Lots more football coming up on here. Live shows, recordings, everything like that. So in the meantime, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. And hopefully I'll bump into a few of you on Sunday at the match. I'm really looking forward to that. Come and say hello if you see me, and maybe grab a quick interview with you about the game or what you thought of the game if it's after the game that I see you. But enjoy your weekend. See you Sunday. Take care. Be strong.